This offseason, everyone's been talking about three teams from the SEC. Georgia coming off a national championship, Alabama because they're Alabama, and Texas A&M because of their #1 recruiting class and the whole Fisher-Saban feud. But there's one team that I don't hear anyone talking about: the Ole Miss Rebels. It's not that they're a lousy team or they haven't made any headline-worthy moves. In fact, last year they had their best record since 2015, and in the offseason they made two of the biggest acquisitions out of any FBS team. The media is always going to hold on to those names that everyone knows: the Bamas, the Sabans, the Bradys, the Lakers, so on and so forth. But I'm here to tell you why the Ole Miss Rebels may just have the tools to run the tables not only in the SEC, but in the FBS as a whole. My name is Kevin Redfield from the Dropout Sports, and let's get into it. Hey, whoa. I just gotta ask y'all to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Alright, bring the music back, and now let's get into it. First off, let's just get it out the way, we're not gonna see anything remotely close to what we saw in 2021. The Rebels are losing the house, the dog, and the kitchen sink after everyone left, whether it be due to graduation, the draft, or the transfer portal. They're starting quarterback Matt Corral, their top 3 running backs, and most of their receiving room is gone from 2021. And their defense is also losing a ton of talent. You can't replace a Matt Corral or a Jerrion Ealy, or can you? Alright, enough beating around the bush, let's get straight into it. Jaxson Dart and Zach Evans, these two guys coming out of USC and TCU respectively, will make waves in 2022. And you can put that on my resume for later. Mark me down on that. Dart is coming in as the 3rd best quarterback in the transfer portal and is looking to establish himself as that guy. Sure, his 2021 season at USC was marred by inconsistency and a losing record, but he wasn't even the starter for most of the season, and USC had nothing in the name of surrounding talent or coaching stability. But now at Ole Miss, he's got an offensive mastermind of a coach in Lane Kiffin, who has coached great quarterbacks in the past. If you look up Jaxson Dart right now, you'll see articles about his Heisman odds and how he's a top FBS quarterback right now. And that's not just a coincidence. For the most part, he was accurate and efficient at USC, and he's got the size intangibles to go along with that dog mentality that we all know he has. Now it's just time to see if those talents become apparent on the field. Of course, an offensive attack can't rely only on the passing game, and they need a running back that can carry the load too. And that is where Zach Evans comes in. Entering the college ranks as a 5-star prospect and the #2 running back behind only Texas's Bijan Robinson, Evans was slated to dominate in the Big 12 under Gary Patterson at TCU, but the pieces never came together. Even though he averaged over 7 yards a carry in 2 years at TCU, the carries weren't coming his way. Yes, Evans did suffer some sidelining injuries, but the running back by committee plan of Patterson's and later Jerry Kill's, along with quarterback Max Duggan's preference to run the ball himself, left college football fans to watch slivers of Zach Evans' talent. But now he's in a different place: Ole Miss, Mississippi University, and virtually all of the former running backs are leaving. Evans is going to have all the opportunities he needs to show why he is one of the best running backs in the nation. There you go, I said it. And before we go on, I truly believe that. More than 1,000 yards off of less than 150 carries is nothing to scoff at. And just watching the dude play, it's apparent that he's got something special just waiting to be on full display. The speed's there, the agility's there, the power is there, and he's got the eyes to be one of the greatest guys when it comes to the one cut going through the gaps. If Lane Kiffin and the Rebels can embrace him, every team Ole Miss faces is gonna regret that they didn't get Zach Evans out of the transfer portal. Along with those two big names from the transfer portal come other guys that are looking to get their opportunities on the field. Michael Triggs comes from USC and has reportedly looked great in spring practices. It'll be interesting to see how he and Dart rival the Spencer Rattler-Austin Stogner pairing at the OG USC, but don't forget about JJ Pegues, who also comes in at tight end from Auburn. He's going to be more of a blocker than Triggs as he's a little more stout and he's a lot bigger, but don't be surprised if they go with a 2 tight end set a lot of the time so that they can give Evans that blocking ability while also gaining that passing opportunity with Triggs. Other guys like UCF wideout Jalen Robinson, Western Kentucky tackle Mason Brooks, Central Michigan linebacker Troy Brown, and so on look like they'll have an immediate impact wherever they are spotted. The defense will also try to maintain the course that they were on last year despite the lost leaders. Defensive leaders like Sam Brown and other reliable vets are gone, but the 13.5 points allowed difference from 2020 to 2021 will be a source of pride that the Rebels will look to keep going. Junior D lineman Cedric Johnson will be one of the most tenured players at Ole Miss and will therefore be one of the guys that needs to step up into that leadership role. Besides him, the aforementioned Troy Brown and secondary seniors AJ Finley and Otis Reese will be the projected leaders of their squads. Altogether, the pieces look like they're going to come together between older and new guys coming in and giving Lane Kiffin's offense enough cushion to do their thing. Speaking of the man himself, through all the transferring and moving pieces, Lane Kiffin is the one guy at the center of it all that'll keep the 2021 Ole Miss magic alive. He's brought on some new coordinators onto his staff, including Charlie Weiss Jr. on offense, but you best believe Lane will get his way on how his team is run. Offense will be king, the defense will find its way, and clipboards may or may not fly in the air. Also, since he has been in the news recently, coming out about his opinions on NIL deals and the new college football landscape, I'll put my 2 cents in the ring and say that Lane Kiffin is speaking straight facts. In summary, amid the whole Nick Saban Jimbo Fisher thing, he said that Saban is somewhat of a god, but NIL deals are here to stay, and that the FBS is basically becoming a professional league that now draws players to programs based on lucrative NIL deals. We're a professional sport, he says, and they are professional players. And the fact that he's embracing this is a great sign for Ole Miss. Here's a guy that in the 2022 offseason has had the second best transfer recruiting class ranking, is getting guys that can plug and play right away, and is changing how he formerly thought and now embraces the new direction of college football. If I'm a high school player right now and I'm looking at schools, seeing Lane Kiffin understand the new deals going out and how the transfer portal can be utilized, I'm going to want to play for him and get the bag that I deserve. The SEC West is the definition of tough, and Ole Miss has always been second fiddle behind those bigger schools like A&M and Bama. But this year, despite what the media is not reporting, the Rebels are in for another shocker of a year. From Jaxson Dart, Zach Evans, and others bringing their big-time talents to the table, to a defense that can step up like they did in 2021, Bama and them are in for a rude awakening. Last year, Kirby Smart was the first former assistant coach of Nick Saban's to defeat him, and now, I'm looking for Lane Kiffin to make that 2 losses this season. I know it's bold to say, but when has safe ever been the operative word when talking about the Ole Miss Rebels? Thank y'all for watching.
Just a bunch of dropouts.